Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Square Triangle podcast. I almost fucking did it again.
It's our second time
It
recording.
rolls off the tongue. And if you started recording earlier, no, you didn't. You couldn't have. It didn't record.
Take two.
Yeah, we had a really weird OBS crash and we lost like the first 10 minutes. So we're back.
We are discussing Wrestledream. It is the Antonio Inoki memorial show. I personally hope they don't make this a yearly thing because then it just feels like they're
milking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good if it's a one-off.
AEW is want to do.
Yeah,
like, admittedly, AEW is want to do.
This feels good as like a every like 5 years kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like every like 5-year milestone of the anniversary or something. You know.
Yeah.
Every show will be a new roster. You know, you have the new guys coming up. You'll have new wrestlers in the company. Just a bunch of, new talent and stuff like that.
You have new people who are trained by the people who are trained by Inoki.
Yeah. But are we in agreement that Wrestledream was pretty much AEW's best pay-per-view this year so far?
I've liked it. I've liked some of the matches more than I have on other pay-per-views. Yes.
Yeah.
Overall, it felt more cohesive. And I think we'll touch on that too, in terms of like commentary, telling the story, the in-ring action, just the presentation of everything. This is the most cohesive I think AEW has been in the last few months.
I think AEW has this thing where they're constantly trying to like one-up themselves, and it gets a little frustrating to me to be like, oh yeah, that was the best pay-per-view ever. And then another one pops up like, no, that was the best pay-per-view ever. And then we come to this one, it's like, okay. But I guess it's like a good problem to have if you're AEW.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think this was their best effort because they pretty much had a mixed bag as far as, everybody's different styles and stuff, coming together. All right. We had some of everything on this pay-per-view. We had spots, we had technical wrestling, we had slap fests.
We had Darby losing years off his career.
We had Darby knocking off another 18 months of his life.
Yeah, just the madman. But we're going to just breeze through the 0 hour pre-show, which they can fit a lot of wrestling into 1 hour. Like they really can. I'll give the AEW that. We had a mixed tag match. Keith Lee, Athena, Billy Starks, and Kojima, who was there over representing New Japan. And then we had
Bread.
Yeah, the bread man. And then we had Lee Moriarty, who I completely forgot works for AEW. Shane Douglas or Shane Taylor. One of the two. Because there's a Shane Douglas, right?
Taylor.
No, Shane Taylor.
Yeah,
well, there's a Shane Douglas, but he's not in AEW.
Shane Douglas is a very old wrestler.
Yeah, that's why the names. That was the name that popped up against Mercedes Martinez and Diamante, and the faces went over. If I recall correctly, because I didn't get notes for the pre-show, didn't Athena hit one of the male wrestlers, even though it was supposed to be like a mixed?
Yeah, I think Lee Moriarty with the O-face.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
the fact that she calls it the O-face.
Yeah.
Good.
And just seeing like Billy Starks and Nick Wayne and everybody in the company is like AEW is really like cultivating like a new generation of stars. It might not be this year or next year, but they're definitely aiming for that. Hey, 5 or 6 years down the line, you're going to be one of the top guys. You're going
to hear about this person, either here or in WWE. And we'll get that in a little bit.
They got a lot of high hopes and faith in Billy Starks and Nick Wayne, because I think those two are going to be, future stars of their divisions, respectively.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to a point now where there's this back and forth between AEW and WWE, which I've been seeing a lot lately. AEW will build stars that nobody has heard of, or nobody in the mainstream wrestling audience would have heard of. And in return, they get to let wrestlers continue enjoying wrestling. When people are told that like, your career is over, it's unsafe, like they're able to go there and surprisingly still be safe despite some of the matches. And, I I mean,
You can say
Sting,
Bryan Danielson. It's okay.
you can say, and I mean, Sting is jumping off a balcony. He's at 60 something. So, but it's like, hey, you can't wrestle anymore here. You know, it's too dangerous for you. And they go there and they just get this. You see it in them. They get this like rejuvenation of their love of wrestling. And I think this like just back and forth. You know, like people will leave AEW, go WWE, build skill set, come back. People will be known in WWE, get tired of their position there, go AEW, find their love of wrestling again, and then maybe come back. Like we're starting to see this like life cycle.
Start booking Collision.
Yeah. So it's
kind of
just
like it's kind of like this weird synergy that they're building between AEW and WWE. But you know, you got too many people on Twitter arguing about, you know, which one's better. That they don't really see it, but I kind of see it. You know,
there's a very loose working agreement going on here.
It's very, very loose. Considering the fact that they filmed Edge debuts at the end of the night, by the way, we'll cover that right now. They filmed his vignette, and I was like, did they film that while he was still under a contract, or was that like a 2 a.m. Hey, let's go out and film this?
That was probably a 2 a.m.
He answers that in the scrum.
Oh, he did? Oh, yeah, because I missed the scrum. Yeah. So what did they do? Exactly.
He's holding a camera guy like this while he's getting like 2 a.m. footage. Yeah,
Darby helped him shoot it, but it's like
Darby helped him shoot it, and it was like, hey Darby, I want to get a sports car, I want to go this. And he takes him to the fucking ghetto in Seattle.
Yeah, apparently he like had him hang out in like a sketchy neighborhood motel so nobody would like see him at any of the main hotels.
Yeah, that was great.
That is probably the most Darby thing he can do.
But
and there was another story. There's another part to that story that is he was just eating he's like, I want a cheeseburger, and he went to go get a cheeseburger at a little diner.
Yeah,
and a little kid saw him, and they go, and he goes, shh, and the kid goes. And, I thought that was really cute.
But people are like, well, you know, when did he sign? When they start talking to him about a contract, you know, this sounds like contract tampering. And it's like, do you remember what happened like 4 months ago with WWE, like reaching out to AEW wrestlers, like, hey, we want you back.
So, like, so basically, going back to the Edge thing. So basically, they told him not to. They tried not to Kenny Omega the guy. You know, just kind of kept everything on the wraps until he debuted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I remember that story, Sharky, because I think it was Vince McMahon or Triple H that was trying to, you know, lure some of the AEW talent over to WWE.
I mean, he called Bobby Fish, and that's why Bobby Fish was ultimately let go from the roster, even though like his contract went up and they were in the middle of a story with him. It's like, now you're gonna get out of here, Bobby Fish. Like,
because I guess Bobby Fish thought he was gonna have like an easy route back to WWE.
He's like, hey, WWE wants us back. I'll get Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole.
They left him on Reed, so he ended up in Impact. So
yeah, it's just like, hey, I can easily convince Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, hey, we can go back and be undisputed. And it's like, but we're loving it here. Like,
we're having fun here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I mean, Kyle O'Reilly's been paid the whole time he's been out injured. Like,
yep.
I just can't wait for him to come back in all of this. But yeah, I mean, it's a good pre-show. You got the Josh Barnett Claudio match. You got the mixed tag team. You got the acclaimed trios titles, which I'm not going to go into again. I have a feeling that the trios titles are kind of being undervalued. They're always on the pre-show, not on the main show. Just think it needs to be altered in some way.
Something we'll talk about as we get into the pay-per-view proper, that we touched on a little bit with the Josh Barnett match, was Moxley on commentary.
Yes.
A highlight of this pay-per-view for me.
And it comes back later, and it's so good. It comes back twice.
Moxley's just out there vibing on on Real Graps.
He comes back and he's like, I can't say the word I was thinking because they're gonna find me again.
Yeah, that was the thing. Later in the night when he comes back, we'll get to that. Quickly going over the MJF and Righteous match that opened up the show. We had talked about this before we lost. We talked about this before we lost the footage. I feel like the AEW World Title is in a weird spot because it is in like tag team focus right now, while they kind of build up MJF's next big feud. And it's a fun little detour, I guess, on the main titles, like little road trip. But yeah, you shouldn't have MJF single-handedly beating a team that established themselves by destroying the Hardys. like,
Yeah.
like it's just this team like established themselves as just a great tag team, and then MJF just beats them.
Yeah, but in the same breath though, that match was really antics heavy. Okay,
It
so
really
you know
was.
MJF is gonna get his antics and you know as usual, you know his usual shtick that he does with the kangaroo kick and
Yeah, he hit
cheating and stuff like
all
that
the
shit.
current MJF like notes and everything.
Yeah,
And the crowd loved it. Like, this was a great match to start the crowd off with, like I had mentioned. We had given some praise to the Righteous's character work. Evil Brother Love and Charles Manson. Like,
It's funny that you say evil Brother Love, because as far as I know, Brother Love was almost always a heel.
he was a heel,
Yeah.
yes.
He was more like evil Southern Baptist pastor
Yeah.
in a way. He kind of reminds me of John Goodman's character, the Big Lebowski, a little bit. I don't know why, but I just kind of drawing that comparison.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing great character work, and it's just, again, these are two people that WWE had. They had them sitting in the NXT audience, like they were ready to sign them, and they just were like, nah. And it's just like, man.
Because I think they were going to be a big part of that Bray Wyatt storyline, but it just fell apart.
It did.
You know, I don't know how it fell apart, but it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's like they let them go, and AEW picked them up for Ring of Honor, and it's like, hey, look, we're here. And I'm like, you guys are great. I just recently found out about you, but I love your character work. Like,
Especially Vincent, man. That dude is like a gem right now.
yeah. Then we move on to the first hard hitting match of the night, which is straight New Japan King's Road style of Eddie Kingston versus Katsuyori Shibata, and these two men just beat the hell out of each other.
It's exactly what I wanted.
It is.
I don't like, you know, Eddie Kingston still thinks wrestling is real sometimes, like almost on some low key shit.
Yeah.
But he can flatten a dude, unlike Loki.
He really, I mean, Loki did knock out his opponent in the first 6 seconds in one of his matches, and then tried to get him up to continue wrestling. Like, I think that was the one thing I agreed with Jim Cornette on when I listened to that episode about that. It was just like, you have this guy come in, he legitimately knocks out his opponent in the first 6 seconds with like a rolling like forward kick, and then they don't just like call the match there and make him look like a superstar. Like, he tries to pick the guy up to continue doing the spots they had planned. And I'm like, was Loki ever in WWE? And surprising, he was.
Yes, he was called Cabal.
He was on
Cabal.
NXT season 2.
He won NXT season 2, and then he just got jobbed out a lot and left.
Yeah. So I was like, that's surprising. Like,
He did a battle rap on NXT.
oh man. But
And he dropped Impact on NXT also, which probably got him in hot water with management. But hey, it's low key. What do you expect?
Yeah. But this Eddie Kingston Shibata match was great. Like, this was a pure like old school style, just like beating each other up wrestling match. Not a lot of like big spots, just way more technical wrestling, just way more strikes. It was a very New Japan style match.
I think commentary kind of mentioned that it was kind of a, you know, strong style versus King's Road kind of match, where Eddie Kingston had favored King's Road, and Shibata, obviously from New Japan Pro Wrestling, favors the strong style. But it was a fan.
We mentioned also Shibata, a student of Antonio Inoki. So he's, and also like really selling up, like, can he be the modern day Triple Crown, you know, of Ring of Honor Pure, then the Ring of Honor World Champion, and also the New Japan Strong Champion. Which I was thinking that might have been the route they were going, especially hearing that Shibata was a student of Inoki. I'm like, oh, Eddie's been saying like he has back problems, and I mean, this is an event for Inoki, and I'm like, are they going to give it to Shibata? Like, are they going to let him just carry like their Ring of Honor promotion?
Well, I think him saying that is mostly him saying, I can't work all these indies that I had planned.
Yeah, he had a bunch of indie stuff.
This stuff.
Yeah.
Where my titles are.
I think Eddie Kingston's just focusing on what's important now.
Yeah, he's like, as a champion, I have to be able to perform on those shows. So I
Well, he
give it
has
to him. Eddie's he's responsible. He's humble. He's like, hey, I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but this is what kind of just has to happen right now. And yeah, if somebody needs to tell Eddie that wrestling is not real, he can stop.
Who's gonna tell him wrestling is not real? That's the question.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to tell him that wrestling's not real.
I will let him think wrestling is still real sometimes.
As long as he doesn't do a low key and like knock someone unconscious.
Yeah. Great match though. You have this very like fun, almost comedy opening match, and then you have like right into this New Japan style, and it's one of those things I like about AEW. It's just you're getting all these different styles, all these different flavors of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, later in the night, we get true graps. Like, it is
real graps.
100% real graps. But on to another surprisingly good match. Which I'm these girls can perform. I mean, this match was way better than I think it had any business being. Everything, and good history too. Commentary really sold that when Julia Hart debuted like 3 years ago. She was beat by Chris Statlander. So now she's
lost sense.
And yeah, it's just
it's wild to me that it's kind of a misrepresentation. It's classic, wrestling statistics that they just kind of make up.
Yeah.
Because Julia Hart, how many matches has she had before becoming part of the House of Black? Maybe like 10.
Yeah, she was part of Varsity Blondes, and they were losing a lot. So I think
my point is, she didn't have a whole lot of matches until she started wrestling in the House of Black.
And she's improved.
She's doing really good.
She looks great in the ring. I mean, she has a beautiful moonsault. Like
I was saying that to the person I was watching with, because I was watching with people who don't watch wrestling super often, and their only real frame of reference is AEW.
Yeah.
And so I try to explain Charlotte's moonsault that like kind of over rotates and like she ends up kicking someone in the face more often than not. And I was like, this moonsault's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I mean, the top moonsaults, you got Io Shirai, you got Julia Hart, you got Tiffany Stratton does a beautiful moonsault. Like, it's just, I just love a good moonsault. Like, it looks so good.
And on top of that, I just like Julia Hart's character work overall.
Her character work is great,
like,
and
it's amazing. Now, in such a short period of time, she is just evolved into this complete version of herself.
Yeah, I mean, they let her get a lot of offense into this match too. Like Chris was on the back foot for a lot of this early match.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris is just showing just how freakishly strong she is.
she has like, Claudio's strength, because she is just freakishly powerful. Like, I was impressed. This is probably one of Chris Statlander's better matches I've seen lately.
Definitely.
And because she the way she was just towards the end of the match, the way she was just manhandling Julia Hart, just lifting her up in different positions, like that was impressive.
I mean, she straight up like lifts her up while she's in a suplex submission like hold, and just gets her up into a pile driver. Yeah. There was a funny spot before all that though. She literally slaps the mist out of Julia's mouth.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, she goes to spray, she slaps it, so she sprays it off. Julia, it takes 2 pile drivers to put Julia Hart away. And then really funny at the end, just Brody carrying her over his shoulder. Like as she still sells the pile driver, just like limp over Brody King's shoulder as she's carried out. I thought that was pretty funny.
He just looked like an angry dad who just saw his daughter get to fucking lose a fight. He's like, my work daughter will get you next time.
Well, that's the thing. She did like an interview, and she said that Brody and his wife are basically her road parents, like taking care of her on the road whenever they travel. But it's just so funny. She's selling like this double pile driver. It's just like completely dead as Brody's carrying her over his shoulder.
We're talking about character work. I really like Julia Hart's like character work. Like the whole mystique about the entrance, and I know the House of Black all have that like super cool goth like time skip entrance. But like the way she does hers, where she's like very elevated, when she gets up on the bottom rope or whatever, where she's just standing on it as the lights come back on. She's like this.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, she's gone from. It's weird because there's a parallel to Alexa Bliss, right? To go from the cheerleader character to like the goth creepy girl. And I think out of the two of them, Julia Hart does it better.
Like in Alexa Bliss's case, she went from like the cheery, glittery cheerleader character to, the mean girl to, the spooky.
Yeah,
crazy
there was a middle part
chick,
there.
so it's like,
and I would say she does the goth thing better, but I think Alexa Bliss does the mean girl thing better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's so small she can't contain all that anger. So
much closer to hell.
I miss Alexa Bliss.
So do I.
Congratulations on your child, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, congratulations on the child, but like, I miss you. Like, I miss you on my TV. She's one of my favorite wrestlers on WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, this was a great match. Continuing to show that Chris is just a force to be reckoned with. I think they're probably going to build her up for a potential Mercedes match. Unless Mercedes goes straight for the women's title.
I think she goes straight for the women's
which
title.
Probably seems more likely. But I am curious to see like where this TBS goes. I don't think they're going to let her hold on to it as long as Jade did.
Oh no. But I'm trying to have a hard time figuring out who exactly going to set up to beat Chris though, because I don't know. Ruby Soho, they just keep beating her.
In terms of like raw strength, I think Mercedes Martinez might have a good opportunity if they build up that feud right.
Right.
Because I mean, both of them have like similar physiques to each other. Like they are both strong-looking women. I just like Mercedes Martinez. Like I think she deserves at least one run with some gold. But yeah, I mean, this was a great TBS title match. The thing with Jade is that it normally was a squash, like not entirely a squash, but still kind of one-sided. With Chris's matches, it seems like we get a very even match, which I think makes them a little more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
But, that was also just to build her up. I mean, she's going to go to WWE and get training and get a better work rate and all that. I mean, this was just the AEW trying to cover up, the greenness behind her, at least for the start.
Yeah, like, because as soon as she gets into the performance center, which she already is, as soon as she gets all of the basic fundamentals and their style out of the way, I think Jay's gonna skyrocket.
Jay's gonna be a star. We're gonna be seeing
She's
Jay.
Gonna be a mega star because like she's pretty much suited for WWE. She looks like a Marvel character, first of all.
She does.
She
and
really
then on top of that, they can polish, the greenness that AEW kind of showed everybody. So
yeah,
Jay's gonna be a mega star. She'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, this is Jade's gonna be a mega star. Next 10 years, we're just gonna be seeing Jade Cargill.
Yeah,
like,
I want to see her specifically get work from Beth Phoenix because she already uses her finisher.
Yeah.
And then we go to the match after all that me and X could not take any notes for because this is a chaotic as hell tag team match.
Oh.
Well, I do really love the energy of Orange Cassidy and Hook though. I really love them as a tag team. The Guns try to pin each other, tricking the ref. The ref catches it before anything happens.
Sins of the father and all that.
It was a very funny spot because the ref didn't accidentally do it like he did with them. He notices it. He's like,
no, get up.
It's like,
no, I'm not doing that.
I wrote in my notes here chaos. Yeah, I wrote in my notes.
Saw the New Age Outlaws tape. He knows.
Yeah. So my notes say chaos. I can't take notes about this match. That's the only note I really have written down here.
Let me see if I got written down for this. Hold on.
And then the Bucks pin Penta because Phoenix gets taken out of this match early, which is interesting because they don't bring up anything further than that during the rest of the pay-per-view. They don't give us an update or anything. They might have done it.
I didn't hear anything on the scrum.
They didn't say anything during the scrim, but Phoenix in the first 10 minutes, I guess pulls his shoulder and is out of the match, which I think may account for a lot of the chaoticness here. Because I think he was probably supposed to be involved in a lot of these spots and he was not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's nothing on commentary, nothing in the scrim, nothing during the course of the pay-per-view saying, hey, what's up with Phoenix? It's weird. And they also advertised him versus Matt Jackson for the title on Tuesday. So I don't know. Like
I don't know. It's probably up in the air at this point. I guess.
I think he might have legitimately torn his shoulder. They're just kind of gauging, whatever's going on. They didn't want to work it into a story if they don't know his condition.
Yeah. So it's one of those, we won't book this until we know who's available again.
Yeah, definitely.
So I hope if Phoenix is injured, prayers for speedy recovery, and I just hope that they get this situated because now the international championship is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty chaotic, just 4-way tag team match. I mean, a lot goes on. The Guns are looking great as a tag team. They've really grown into wrestlers and into their own characters. Lucha Brothers, always great. You got the Bucks, always great. So good teams in here. Don't feel like watching FTR and the Bucks 4 though. Like that might just be me.
I'm okay with it. I think it'll be a really good match.
Well, this close to the last one. Like that's the thing. Like their last match was fucking great, and there was so much respect at the big stadium, Wembley and all that. And now it's just like, I'm gonna do it again.
Right, but who else does FTR to go against?
Guns. They're currently feuding with Bullet Club Gold. I feel like it's just you could have had a better choice to further storylines too.
Sure.
I mean, I would have much rather they went after Bullet Club Gold, but at the same time, Jay White's kind of, I guess, is setting up MJF's next feud with him, and he's going to be a little busy for a while. So,
yeah, I guess the Pentacle's back, like just SAE title, and hey, look,
this is where we are.
FTR's back with MJF.
Yeah, so.
But no, now FTR is probably everything on Twitter is like rated FTR for Edge and FTR as like a team now, and it's like, is FTR just going to team with every like big superstar that comes in?
Well, oddly enough, Edge and FTR are friends in real life, friends. So because I think Edge made reference to him when he was when they were still in WWE. Yeah, something that happened. I think it was like when Seth Rollins broke into his house and he was feuding with him. So. Yeah, he made reference to
the pandemic era was so crazy for fucking storylines.
It was weird.
You have Seth doing home invasions.
Like the pandemic era pro wrestling was weird. I want to go back and watch a lot of that stuff. I really do.
So yeah, this was a great match. We got the Bucks winning, going up against FTR for tag titles eventually. Our first match of the night, I would say, if we can't pick one. This is probably our first match of the night.
I would say this is the second best match in the night.
Yeah, just Swerve versus Hangman. You would not expect these two to have this kind of chemistry. But this match fucked.
It was really good.
This was an absolute banger.
This was my favorite match because it had the storyline implications. It had good wrestling. They meshed well. It had kind of everything for me.
The storyline of him stabbing him in the hand, like a lot of focus on Swerve's hand, and then story in the ring, a lot of focus on Hangman's arm as like the storytelling going on in the ring.
Yeah,
like this match was so good. And entering, Swerve is hometown hero. He's a heel, but this crowd's cheering for him. And what does Hangman do? Instantly starts healing it up for this crowd, and I'm like, this is gonna be something special.
And it was.
It was. This match was awesome.
Like all the while Swerve was still doing his heel stuff as well. So, this is to me Swerve's best match in AEW so far. Okay. And
it had a lot of time to shine as a solo star.
yeah.
Because he was in that tag team with Keith Lee, but
I hope this gives him more of a shine as we go further on.
Oh, it will, because I think this was the signature match of his AEW career. I think this is the one that basically takes him to the next level. Where now you got to consider him in title pictures. Okay.
I mean, what the fuck, dude? How did WWE was like, let's release him? Like, they released him and kept the rest of Hit Row. Like.
And we knew, and everybody knew it wasn't going to work without Swerve because he was the main reason why Hit Row worked in the first place.
Like, what is what are they doing now? One of them is getting jumped by Jimmy Uso in Solo. Like that's all they're
Yeah.
really doing on TV right now.
The other got released, and pretty much Swerve went to AEW and reformed his own version of the Hit Row, which is Mogul Enterprises, and they're all pretty badass. So the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage,
Yeah.
who looks like an absolute D&D barbarian. So
Yep.
Two of my favorite moments in this match, Swerve taking the Deadeye on the stairs, the steel steps, and then during the submission hold, hitting the house call on Hangman's arm to further like injure it during that submission hold. And then we get the buckshot lariat. If I remember correctly, it's he hits him with the buckshot lariat, but he can't pin him because of the damage done to his arm.
mm-hmm.
So they're both kind of just laying there. He doesn't have enough time to cover Swerve. That's what lets Swerve ultimately get the advantage in this match. This match was so good. Like Swerve's moveset is just so cool. Like
I like the fuck. What is it? It's the one where he kicks him from behind.
yeah, it's the house call. It's the like jumping.
House call, yeah.
It's like the single
jumping.
leg drop kick from behind.
Yeah.
That was my favorite move of his. It's really unique. It catches you from a weird angle.
And it just looks cool because usually like he's jumping off of like steel steps when he does it. Like it's just a great like aerial move. This match was so good. Like
I also kept thinking about that promo where it's like, what's a buckshot to a kill shot?
Yeah.
That was absolute.
We
fire.
talked about that too. I was like, how is he just gonna drop the coldest line on AEW TV? Like I'm just like nice little Lucha Underground like callback too. Like
If this match doesn't tell you that Swerve needs to be a main eventer or somewhere in the upper mid card, I don't know what to tell you. Like he really should be a champion right now.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, so I mean, hell, I wouldn't put any national title on and see what he does with that. You know, just as a good dry run. You know what I'm saying?
I would love to see him with the world title.
I'd rather him be in the world title picture, but you know, you build him up slow enough, the crowd will get behind it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I really thought he'd be the one to take the belt off Orange Cassidy.
So did I.
Like I thought that was going to be the title change. It's just like let's put it on Swerve and just strap our fucking rocket to him. You know, but they missed that opportunity. They did have some pretty good matches. Swerve did do a little bit of his comedy stuff, like when he kicked his arm off the rope. He did like the Looney Tunes fall. Like they had great chemistry there, but yeah, I think at that time it might have been better to put it on Swerve. But the storyline of Orange Cassidy just getting more and more broken until he just can't beat Moxley is like a great story in its own right. And just defiant till the end, you know, hitting Moxley with the double fingers before taking the finisher.
Yeah.
Just like going down, just like I'm going down fighting. Like I just think that was the perfect capstone to that reign. And now he's teaming with Hook, which is awesome because if Danhausen comes back, Danhausen can team up with Hook again, and we can get those three just being a wacky little trio together. Just the things like I think we should be in a tag team match or something, and then Hook's just okay. Like they're both just that same energy.
Yeah,
and it's just so funny. Yeah, that was the Swerve Hangman match. Just exceeded all expectations. And then
I want to see more.
I do. I want to see more. I just want the feud to I want the feud to continue, like until the next big pay-per-view. Like just one of those kind of blow-off matches, you know. Then we get kind of like a cool down match, I would say. It's Starks versus Yuta. This is just building off of something during the week where Yuta's like talking shit up to him because of everything he did with Bryan Danielson and stuff.
Beat up one of my dads. I gotta beat you up.
Yeah. The golden part of this match is Moxley on commentary. Like the match itself is okay. It's Ricky Starks here, and it's Ricky Starks. You're never going to get a bad match out of Ricky Starks. But Moxley like just stole the show here on commentary.
Moxley casually dropping that Daniel Bryan likes tantric sex.
Yeah, that was during the Danielson match. Yeah, or no, I think it was it's one of them.
I don't know when it was, but
my man was just talking.
He was just vibing out there. It just casually dropping information I don't think we needed to know. So I'm like, okay, Mox,
I like how it's like
you smoking in the back.
I like how he's
out.
just unbothered by Big Bill. Like,
He's just,
like it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, he didn't help him, so whatever.
What did you do? Hit me? I don't care.
Yeah. Ricky Starks gets the win, and I really think they're slowly building up to Starks versus Moxley or something, because Moxley was kind of taunting, or Starks was taunting him like near the end of the match too.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of fuck with that match a little bit. Like,
I'd like it.
Ricky Starks is just
I want to see Starks go through all of the BCC.
yeah, and it's just maybe join, like he's just, this is his path of, I want this to be the thing. They always build Ricky Starks and then stop, and then they build Ricky Starks then stop, and I'm like,
and that's what annoys me, because
trigger.
Ricky Starks has the capability to be a top star in AEW. They just keep hitting the start. They just keep hitting the stop button on him.
Yeah,
Just let Ricky Starks cook. That's all I want. Let Ricky Starks go out there and just be a big star, because you're gonna need him in the next 2 or 3 years.
the man wins the Owen Hart Cup.
Are injured.
Yeah, he wins the Owen Hart Cup, and then just kind of like upper mid card. So
To be fair, that's more CM Punk's fault than anything.
it really is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Eat shit, Bill Brooks.
pretty simple. Just one-on-one singles match. I feel like this could have been on the pre-show, and this could have been the trios title match. But given match lengths and all that, and planning and stuff like that, I can see why they're like, okay, we have to put a singles match here, not the trios match. Then we get the match of the night. Like, this match is just graps. Like,
Real graps, baby. Real graps.
real graps. We finally get to see Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. And what the fuck, these two guys are great. Like,
You couldn't put two more complete and beautiful stylistic pro wrestlers together. That was a clinic. Okay, they did some things that I've never seen before.
I've never seen moves be reversed into other moves like this. Like, it's just
like their chain wrestling is fucking insane. Like, I was just I, at some point I think I just stopped taking notes, because I'm like, holy shit, what in the hell was that they just did? And they did it so beautifully. Like, their transitions in this match was the highlight of this thing.
I mean, they have
And on top of that, Mox was on commentary again, just vibing.
yes,
7 years in the making. For this
7
match
years in the
from
making.
when
7 years,
Zack
and it
Sabre
was
Jr.
worth
in the
it.
Cruiserweight Classic.
yes. And then we have Mox on commentary, but it's not just Mox on commentary. It is Mox and Nigel going back and forth,
That was
hyping
great.
up their respective guys. Like,
Yeah, because this has been a running thing on AEW television, where Nigel McGuinness would just like take shots at Bryan Danielson. He would call him Brittle Danielson and whatnot. And yeah, it was just entertaining to watch those two just go back and forth with each other. And that's when Mox did the whole I can't say this because I'm probably gonna get fined again.
he's like, I can't cuss, but he like covers his mic and you hear him like, fuck him up, Danielson. Like, you still hear it on commentary. He's like, you see that?
Said, make him pay for that shit.
He's like, it's fine. I covered my mic. Like this, just Moxley's energy on commentary is so funny. But it's just like, there was one line I think during this match, Mox is like, yeah, I don't know, he likes to walk around on all fours, and I just like, I don't want to know what he does in his private life, Moxley. Like, like, it's just like shit like that. Like, commentary was its own wrestling match between Nigel and Moxley. But God, dude, what was this match like 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
About 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, about 20 minutes.
This technical wrestling, like, fucking classic.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think for the first 3/4 of the match, it's just technical wrestling. And then we start getting the strikes like near the end of it.
Yeah, like the first strike came like within like 5-6 minutes of the into the match. That's when the first strike occurred. I'm like, they literally went damn near 6-7 minutes without throwing a single punch or an elbow or anything like that. That's just how good these two are, though.
Yeah.
And everybody was into it.
Yeah, and you have Danielson winning in his hometown. Zack Sabre Jr. refuses to show him any respect as he leaves. and then later in the night challenges him again. And I feel like we're going to get him either in the UK or in Japan for another match between these two.
I'm into it.
Which I'm into it also. We knew that these two were great wrestlers. I didn't expect this match to be this good.
Give it to me again. I need that again. Run it back.
I forgot that Mauro Ronaldo did commentary for the Cruiserweight Classic alongside Danielson. I miss Mauro Ronaldo. I'm so sad that they kicked him out of that.
I think Moxley sums it up for us at the end of this when he's on commentary, where he's just sitting in his chair and he's just, well, holy shit. Like, that's his
with
response.
His feet on the desk.
But they built up the picture that was going around after the match, and after Danielson wins, he hugs Aubrey, the ref.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
because
the
she was in the audience when he retired from WWE the first time.
She was the crying girl.
She was the crying girl in the audience. Like, that is
crying woman.
That
she was
is
like college
Aubrey.
aged.
Yeah, just this like college age, like crying female fan in the audience. That's Aubrey. So they tied that story. They tied that history into this, and they are hugging it out in the middle of the ring after this match. And it's just like
AEW has a really good memory when it comes to callbacks.
It's just, how special must have that been for Aubrey also, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if for some reason this is his last match and it's this fucking banger of a match, like, I got to officiate it. Like,
well, and she's also from Washington.
Yeah.
So it's her, it's Swerve, it's Danielson.
It's Nick Wayne, it's Darby.
Nick Wayne, Darby are all from the Seattle area.
Yeah, we were funny. That's like, they really stacked this card with hometown heroes.
Man, Seattle wrestling really produced some talent, man. They really do.
They do. It's a great wrestling city.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from the technical masterpiece, we get what is basically Kenny and all of his ex-friends and all his old friends thrown away, new friends brought in.
Oh, he always has his boyfriend.
Yeah, he's him and Ibushi. He brings in Jericho, and they're against the Don Callis family of Sammy Guevara, Kanose Takeshita, and Will Ospreay, which I told X, I was like, this looks like that kind of team up you'd see in like an anime or something. Like, these are the three villains like teaming up with each other finally.
It was to the point where Ibushi had like a anime pro tag moment in the middle of the match.
We will talk about that. That was a great like hype up like moment for this match. Insane. This match is chocked full of history and storytelling, and I want somebody who says AEW doesn't do stories to say that to my face, because I would slap them. Like, this is the most story-filled match of this fucking event.
For sure.
I mean, you got Kenny versus Takeshita versus Will Ospreay, who's feuded with, and then you have Jericho, who's feuded with Ospreay, and now Sammy, and then you have Ibushi, who's just happy to be there. Like, it's just...
Ibushi is there with his boyfriend.
Yes.
On top of that, I really think Ibushi wants to kill Takeshita.
I
think he wants a match against him.
I want the 1v1. I want to just give them 30 minutes. Let them beat the shit out of each other.
They will destroy each other in 30 minutes.
DDT moment.
DDT moment. This also going into this match, Kenny is 0-4 in pay-per-view matches. Which is further building on the story of, can he win if he doesn't have Don Callis with him? It's kind of like gotten into his head, like, maybe I need this guy. There was just so much going on in this match. I don't have a lot of notes for it. Kenny takes most of the abuse this match, it seems like. He's in the ring, I think, the longest for his team. Kota Ibushi and Jericho do the pose in the middle of the ring, which I thought was pretty funny.
Kota Ibushi looked lost when Jericho was doing that pose.
But you see him, he's like, he still gets in a position and does it. Like,
oh, that's what you want.
You get "You Still Suck" chance for Sammy Guevara, and he also hassles Taz on commentary every now and then.
Oh, the crowd starts chanting "Fuck you, Callis" at one point, and the commentary is like, "Oh, let's listen to this for a second."
Yeah,
they just go silent.
Yeah, commentary on the show was great. This is like the best commentary team setups we've had for all these matches. a little bit of everybody. We had Taz, we had Excalibur, Nigel, Moxley, Shivani, like JR, like everybody was in this show. Like
We also had them almost exactly where we needed them too.
yes, they were on the matches that they would be the best calling.
Jim Ross was on the Barnett match, right? Because he needed that's like the historian.
Yeah.
The historian. We needed the historian there. So,
Yep.
but we had Excalibur on the match with Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre because you need someone who knows all the names of the holds.
Yeah.
So
everybody,
it's really good.
A very, very smart team of setting up this event. Whether or not it was just Tony or other people are now taking the reins, and it's like, hey, here's how we're going to divvy this up. Like if he's starting to break up responsibilities, if this is what it is going forward, I'm excited. Yeah, there's this moment in this match when everybody's beaten because everybody's just been destroying each other this match where Kota Ibushi just goes like pure anime protagonist. Like just beats the shit out of.
Oh, like
he
Osprey and Guevara, he just like slaps them and then they just fall down like anime villains and shit.
Well,
like he just hulks up and just
fold.
Yeah, he hits Osprey. I think he hits Osprey with a forearm, and Osprey just like sells it like he got shot and just falls over. Sammy tries to beat up Ibushi, and after it doesn't work, he just stands there with his hands on his hips, and it's just like
he's like, oh fuck.
And then he gets hit and knocked out. And then we get the face off with Takeshita, and God, I just want these two to have a 1v1. Like
we need this match, man. I don't know where this is going to take place. We just need this match.
They're teasing us, and this is what AEW does. They tease us, and I'm just like, right here, in the vein. Like, it's just, yeah, it's that picture of the guy. Put it in the hand. Like
it's that meme with Barney, how with the duff needle in his arm. Like, it's put it right here.
Yeah,
just stick it in my veins.
This match starts to break down. Osprey calls Aubrey over after a Judas effect, I think, hits him in the neck, and he's kind of selling like, oh, my neck's fucked up, so Aubrey is distracted. He then holds Aubrey to not see what's happening as Don Callis gets in and hits Jericho with his own bat. And then finally lets her go as they get the pin on Jericho to have Don Callis' family win this match. These young heels are great. Like this team is just good. Like I like this team so much, and I want Don Callis to adopt more angry children and just bring him into his team.
I want Don Callis to get the Bobby Heenan levels with this family he has.
Oh yeah.
I want it to be like the modern day Heenan family, where they just dominate. Like
I want to see and we kind of saw it the last time we were on a pay-per-view. I want to see where it's like Don Callis introduces one person and gets on commentary, and then leaves, and then gets on commentary for another match like later down the card, and then leaves.
The man got a full Last Supper painting with their faces on it.
That was so good.
That was
and I told X, and I'm like, I want this as a print.
I said AEW just needs to start selling those paintings like that. They should.
These are so
stupid, but I love it.
It's the perfect Don Callis energy.
It is.
Like that's the thing. Like only Don Callis could pull this off.
Like it's his perfect level of narcissism on these things. It really
is. And then we get another great tag team match that to us kind of felt like the cool down match compared to everything that we saw previously. And after thinking about it, I do like this match. It's a very traditional tag team match.
Yep.
Not a lot of big explosive spots, just a good build to this crescendo. Mark Davis looks like a monster. Kyle Fletcher's whole job is to get the shit kicked out of him.
Does it well.
And I mean, and eventually he does take the pin. They do a super shatter machine. Which was like, whoa.
It looked good though.
It did.
Just they yeet him from the top turnbuckle into a shatter machine. Like it's just, I was like, wow, that's what it takes. Okay. Like
it was a really well done match.
This had a lot of good tension. There were a lot of good pinfall breakups at like the last second. Cash was selling a lot in this match for his ribs. He might have, I don't know if he took that power bomb earlier in the match weird. He kind of landed on Fletcher's knee when he came down. Maybe he's just kind of like feeling on his lower back and stuff like that. Yeah, Aussie Open's great. I'm so glad they got signed. Like, I just want more of them. So, and yeah, FTR continuing to show that they are now 10 times the 10-time top guys according to their entrance video. So I wonder if they're just going to keep changing that every time they win a new
again, they
title.
become 11-time top guys.
Well, it's every time they win the titles. That's how they become top guys again.
Yeah. I would say, like, in terms of, like, this is definitely a match that you would have seen in, like, the 80s or 90s in terms of tag team wrestling. And, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say about it. This did kind of feel like it was just to cool the crowd down because the main event was going to be long.
And it was.
Yeah, it was, and it was long in a different way. So let's just get right into Darby versus Christian, where it seems like Darby's only mission now is to destroy himself in pursuit of the secondary TNT title.
Darby's mission is to put himself in a wheelchair or walk around with a cane by the time he's 40.
I will say, everyone looks at that spot with the
it's
steps.
Crazy.
If you look at it hard enough, he hits his arm.
Yeah, he comes down on his arm.
It still hurts.
But
he
hit his arm really good.
Like,
I think
he's got a stinger there. Like, trust me. But it is not broken. His back,
what I think
his back.
What I think gets me is I think it was sloppy from Christian's edge. Like, I think he was trying to get Darby into position, but he was noticing like, oh shit, we're falling.
Yeah.
So I have to just yeet this child. So, but yes, Darby versus Christian. This is a 2 out of 3 falls match. When was the last time we got a 2 out of 3 falls match? It's not a common thing in AEW.
It was a wild
match.
Was it?
It was the MJF title match versus Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that's it.
So these matches are a rarity. And I mean, they're usually bombastic. Before the match even begins, Darby makes himself bleed by smacking his skateboard on the steps. Moxley is trying to cope.
Right
Moxley's swinging at the air right now.
He couldn't bleed on commentary. Darby can bleed before the match starts.
It's like flip the table somewhere. This is bullshit.
He then gives his skateboard to a kid in the front row who has the Darby makeup, which I like. Darby is a very good baby face for his character. It is a Bret Hart thing.
Take my board, kid. Never mind the blood spots.
Some of the funny stuff in this match, just as we go through it, is Christian checking out Nick Wayne's mom, which I thought was pretty funny.
Good.
It is really good, especially since she had to watch her son get destroyed by a dinosaur earlier in the night. So we get into this match. I don't remember what led to it, but I made a note here for commentary. Somebody asks, really confused, Cher? And then you hear like the honest answer of, I couldn't think of anybody else. And then he just starts laughing at commentary. Like he was trying to make a point and say something, but when asked about it, he's like, I don't know, I just pulled a name. And it's just like, I think commentary's tired by this point in the night. Like they're feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Looking at, I think I have a note here, just looking at his arm, Christian's like physique and everything. This man is still fucking ripped for his age. Christian is in great shape. I just wish he would lose the turtleneck.
No, that's what makes him the father figure.
That's what adds to his villainy is that turtleneck.
I know, and it's so annoying, and that's why I want it gone. Because I'm like, I like you, Christian, but you're making it really easy to hate you.
He's doing his job as a heel.
And the first fall actually deals with that turtleneck, as Darby blinds him and then rolls him up into a pin. Probably, I think, like 5 or 10 minutes into the match.
Yep.
And then after that first pinfall, we have about 20 minutes of Christian just trying to murder Darby. Like, throwing him into the steps, throwing him at barricades, just generally beating the shit out of him. He frog splashes him with an awful looking frog splash onto the stretcher.
That looked like shit.
The frog splash looked like shit.
Bad.
It was really funny that it was an actual stretcher too. So I mean, Christian just hit it and then fell over. Like the thing didn't collapse. It didn't do anything. He then starts to pull up the canvas and everything. Probably, I think, before the frog splash to "You sick fuck" chants. And I'm just talking to X2 as he's pulling up the padding and everything, and it's like, oh man, this guy probably watched the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano match and got some ideas.
Yeah. Of course he did. Like it just got to the point where I think they wrestled half the match with this ring exposed. Right, and it's just
the last third of the match was definitely with
the last 10 minutes or so was definitely with this action on the exposed canvas. We hit a kill switch on the exposed canvas. Darby kicks out at 2. Then Nick Wayne comes down, and there's this whole back and forth. And Darby tells him to hit Christian with the title, and Nick Wayne nails Darby with the TNT title. Which
you can hear the thump come off that belt too. Which
legitimately shocked me and X.
Like, this is a betrayal of betrayals.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with the history of Nick and Darby. I know there's some history with Darby and Nick Wayne's dad. That might be tied into it, but the tweets and memes from Twitter is saying Christian's not the stepdad, he's the dad that stepped up.
Yeah.
Because the whole history between Nick Wayne and Darby Allin is that Darby Allin was a student of his father, Buddy Wayne, who passed away about 6 years ago. And I think, him and Nick Wayne were training together during some of that time. A couple years ago, I think when Nick was wrestling on Defy, Darby offered him an open contract for AEW.
Yeah.
When he turned 18.
And then they brought him in on his 18th.
And then they brought him in.
Yeah.
But I did not see that turn coming, though. I really didn't. Or maybe I did. I just couldn't get the signs.
Somebody else posted on Twitter, having lost Jack Perry, he has adopted Nick Wayne. And then Luchasaurus comes down, Sting comes down, and Sting and Darby are beaten by the numbers game. And then the lights go out. Our feature presentation, like, it's the most self-aware shit I've ever seen. It's like, here's why you came to this pay-per-view tonight. Because you heard a rumor. We're here with it. So,
you know what? I think that is on purpose also, because it's like they know that everybody reads dirt sheets, and they knew this guy was coming in. So it's like, you know what? Let's just lean on that. And we're just gonna make a big joke out of it.
Yeah, a very cool vignette. Edge is like really embracing his I'm this metalhead badass that's just going to roll up and beat the shit out of people.
And then I learned.
They point out that the stadium with the fireworks coming out of it wasn't planned. They were filming the night that the Mariners apparently won a game. So the fireworks in the background were just happened timing during that shot.
They got that for free.
And then a slightly modified intro of "You Think You Know Him," because they can't use the WWE one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Metal,
which I think Beth Phoenix did.
Yes, and then Metal Lingus hits, and Adam Copeland, Edge, is in AEW full time. According to the media scrum,
full time, doing week in, week out, even if he's not wrestling, but he is working both Dynamite and Collision.
Yes,
and he's working the Dynamite after, which is going to be on a Tuesday because he wanted a match against Luchasaurus.
Yeah, he's going to wrestle Luchasaurus first, which I think is still going to be great.
They're about the same height. Lucha's a little taller.
WWE fanboys are trying to cope. AEW fanboys are like, oh hell yeah, and us wrestling fans are like, oh sweet, more Edge. That's just how it's broken down right now. It's just like, oh sweet, more wrestling.
Yeah, when and think about it this way: if this happened to WWE when Edge was even when Edge was like feuding, say, with the Judgment Day, that would have hurt the WWE really hard. But they have a pretty good roster now that, losing Edge here or, losing someone else there doesn't really hurt them, especially if they're getting honestly, the trade for Edge and Jade Cargill is a pretty good fucking trade.
It's a pretty good
When you
trade.
think about it, yeah, it is.
Both companies get something that they want.
Like-
And that's the thing. Like I was saying earlier, it's like Edge was not able to do much in WWE anymore. He did everything he could. They didn't want to renew his contract or anything like that. So of course he's going to go to the place that lets people rediscover their love of wrestling. It's a no-brainer. And the thing about the tribalism, it's like, do you watch WWE or AEW? I'm gonna watch both wrestling. So I get to see Edge. I get to see if Edge is on WWE or AEW is whatever. I'm still seeing Edge.
And, it started immediately the moment Edge came out. And, Twitter
Sell
just
out.
fucking
Sell out.
exploded.
Can't believe he's ruining. He's ruining his legacy.
I'm like, do y'all go outside and
Touch grass.
this is probably this is going on YouTube. I can't really say what I really want.
He went on Twitter.
But,
He went on Twitter with like a 4-tweet post, and he basically told the Tribalist fans to touch grass. It was really funny.
they need to touch something else other than grass, is what I'm alluding to.
But yeah, you finish the night with Adam Copeland and Sting shaking hands, which for me is like the
That's
perfect,
cool as hell.
the fanboy moment of like, oh fuck.
I could not process that. I cannot process seeing Sting and Edge in the same ring together. I'm like, these are two guys from two completely different eras, and we're just getting them both in the same ring in 2023.
That gives me the energy of this is a little old, so bear with me here.
Okay.
X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Yeah,
The one
Marvel
part
Capcom.
where Cyclops and
Right
Ryu
time
shake
we
hands.
to shake hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the energy I got.
Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom. It's great.
But like we started this year, do you honestly think we're going to see these two in the same ring together? I was like, man, if you told like 17, 16-year-old me this was going to happen, he probably would have laughed in your face and be like, you got to be bullshitting me.
Well, says Edge, as Sexton Hardcastle back then, was in WCW around the time that Sting was in WCW.
Yes.
Yeah, but like Edge was a
But
jobber.
they were on
like,
very different sides of the card.
Very.
Yeah.
What got me about this is how cool was it for Nick Wayne to be speared by Edge? Like, how did he take that as like a wrestler? He's like, I just got speared by Edge. This is awesome.
And
And then-
how cool is it that AEW has so much faith in Darby Allin that he can just basically they can put him out there with all these big debuts,
Yeah.
Well, he's not one of the pillars for nothing, right?
No, the company is being built around a lot of the younger guys, which is why you're seeing a lot of these stars come in and being put into groups with younger guys. At the end of this whole thing, I don't see Christian benefiting. I see Nick Wayne benefiting from the end of this. Like, that's the goal. It's not just like, oh, they're hiring all these washed up wrestlers. It's like, no, they're putting them into like mentor roles and like teammates.
It's kind of what TNA tried to do before all the egos from Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and everyone got the better of it.
Before that got completely wrecked.
Because we have to think, they've hired all these like, oh, these guys are too old to be wrestling. Billy Gunn helping the Acclaimed.
Billy Gunn looks like a fucking Adonis still.
That's absurd. Sting,
He's like
mentorship to Darby, and now Edge coming in, probably sticking around with them too. You got Christian helping Jack Perry and Nick Wayne now as like a mentor figure.
R.I.P. Jack Perry. He ain't dead. He just said something stupid.
You have Don Callis raising a team of Will Ospreay, Takeshita, and Sammy Guevara. Like, these are all younger guys with that older knowledge in their corner. Like, this is how you're supposed to use legends.
Like, you got Claudio, John Moxley, and Danielson with Wheeler Yuta.
With Wheeler Yuta. Ricky Starks.
Leaps and bounds after he joined the BCC.
You got guys like Malachi Black who have been on the independent scene for like, 10, 15 years. Julia Hart is with them. Like, every like younger person that Tony Khan has faith in is being given a group to be mentored by. And I think it's going to just benefit wrestling as a whole over the next 10, 15 years. Like,
and I really wish people would see that too, because that's one of those things that AEW does that I absolutely love and adore about them. Like, they really will put the time and investment into their younger talent, because they know they're trying to build their younger talent, and they know that they're gonna be in 5 or 6 years the top tier main eventers of this company.
yeah.
So they're going out of their way right now to put the veterans around them to kind of guide them, and I love that. I
Now,
really do.
if Sting came in and was just beating everybody, you know, by himself, just not even in like a tag team or like with like a small group, if it was just Sting coming in, I'd be like, you're like feeding these like guys who could benefit from the win to Sting. But it's like, no, Sting's here to help Darby.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's how you should, you know, do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue it even with MJF now. If everything going on is like this feud with Roderick Strong is like a 20-year veteran, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's been wrestling, I think, almost as long as MJF's been alive.
Yeah, and on top of that,
So-
Roderick Strong, he's a former Ring of Honor World Champion also, so he's been around the block. He's been everywhere. That dude is just a world-class veteran.
And I mean, backstage, Big Show, Mark Henry, you know, you have JR, Tony Schiavone, like, you have all these producers, you know, you have Pat Buck, everybody from, you know, WWE that was Lyco. Like, you have all
Dean
this
Malenko on Anderson.
Dean Malenko as a fucking coach and producer. Like,
I think MJF said it best during the scrum. There's a spoil of riches.
there is. And people are always
There's
like,
a
oh, they're
lot
just
of old
hiring,
people.
they're hiring all these ex-WWE guys or these washed up WCW guys. And it's like, yes, but look who they're putting them with.
It's going to be no different with Edge either. I think they're going to put Edge with some. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they put Edge with somebody who they feel is going to be a main eventer in the next several years. So,
Yeah.
you know, Edge is also there, and he just adds to the spoil of riches of knowledge that he has. Okay, Edge has been around since the 90s. He's been in WCW, he's been in WWE. He's had a 31 year career. I mean, who wouldn't want to pull from that wealth
Even
of
if-
knowledge?
Even if you're not wrestling him, just
Yeah.
sitting down to talk with him, you know, like just having him like, okay, here's what we kind of did in these matches, you know, here's how you can sell this move better, like just little things. Like, Edge is a huge win for AEW. And yeah,
He really is.
let him wrestle full time, you know. People can acceptably take the loss to Edge. Like, the guy still has it at his age. So
I'm a little surprised that he didn't come up with another name.
Yeah. I kind of wanted him to come back with Sexton Hardcastle.
I kind of did.
Kind of did too. That would be
But
funny.
I think this is his goal. He's going to retire basically with his best friend in the company under his real name. You know, just kind of cementing his legacy.
Gonna feud with Christian to end his career. That's pretty great.
Just feud with Christian, become friends
I
with
know-
Christian, one last match with the Hardy Boys.
I was gonna say I know they
Like-
wanted one last match with the Hardys to cap it off.
Yeah.
Because
just-
all of them are there now.
And I mean, just think of it like that. Like, you have Zay and Mark Quinn whenever he comes back. They're still with the Hardys.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan's
You
like,
know,
you? Yes, you're a babysitter. You're a babysitter teacher. Like, teach.
And also,
teach them.
they still have, and Top Flight is still there also. So maybe when Dante Martin gets all healed up, you know, maybe
Again.
we can just try it again. Maybe
Top-
we can just try it again.
I don't want Top Flight to be wrestling's biggest what if. You know?
Yeah.
These two guys, they're still so young and they're so talented, but fuck, these injuries are too frequent.
I know.
I mean, the biggest, like, there's a good reason why he doesn't wrestle anymore and why he was fired, but like, the biggest what if also was like Velveteen Dream. That guy could have had the biggest fucking future if he wasn't a piece of shit.
You know,
Like-
he would have, if all that shit hadn't happened, he probably would have been NXT champion through
Yeah.
and through. And he would have been on the main roster by now, absolutely killing it.
And then you got guys like Lars Sullivan, who's just like his mental issues and everything. Then all his like racist past stuff came up, and it's like,
Mhm.
shit, man, this guy could have been like the next big monster for WWE. I just don't want Top Flight to be like, these two could have been a great tag team, but they just couldn't stop losing their momentum, you know? Because after a certain point, you know, Tony Khan's going to have to be like, I can't do anything with you guys. You keep getting injured. So I can't push you further, you know? Like, I don't want it to come to that. So sometimes I think it's not even the wrestling half the time. Like, Darius was just driving and got in a car crash. Like,
and Dante got injured because of a stupid spot. And I don't think
a spot they've done 100 times.
Hang on. Are we talking about stupid spots when Adam Cole like fractured his leg,
jumping off,
falling off the apron?
That's the thing. Somebody pointed out, it's like, that's wrestling. You could be put through a table 5 nights a week and be fine, but you jump off a ramp and you explode your ankle. Like,
that was a freak injury. Yeah, so
yeah, it was.
Is it though, or is it a work? Like, this is what AEW has done to me. Like, WWE will be obvious if they're working you. AEW makes it so much harder to tell. Like,
the telltale sign of them working you is like what happened in the match with Zack Sabre, or not Zack Sabre, Aussie Open, where Kyle Fletcher is like, "Hey, my arm,"
yeah,
or whatever it was, or he was like, "My neck," or whatever, and
Osprey during the Don Callis match, selling his like, I just got fucked up in the neck.
One of those Australian people, I don't fucking know.
But then that was another thing too. We missed it during the Danielson Sabre Jr. match. Zack Sabre's ankle got like twisted to shit in that match, and I'm surprised it didn't hurt him. Like, there's been gifs going around of like that leg whip that they do, and his ankle was like horizontal to the fucking ground.
That was like the most violent dragon screw I've ever seen Daniel Bryan do.
Yeah,
like, it looked violent as hell. Like, his ankle went like sideways like that, and I was like, I wonder if I seriously thought he was gonna get legitimately injured from that. But he's fine.
It was rough.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping that I hope Edge is a great investment. He probably will be. I really hope a lot of their injured roster can start coming back. I was talking next to, I'm like, I think they have like 15 guys out right now with injuries,
give or take. Yeah.
We haven't had Kyle O'Reilly in a while. Danhausen is still recovering. Malachi, I think, is out with a minor injury right now. I think
Buddy's on vacation.
I believe. I mean, they earned it after their trios title reign. But then it's like, you also have to be sure to bring in guys that just haven't been around for a while. Like, what are Rush and them doing? You know, it's like, it's just all these like.
It was on Collision.
Were they? Because I know that
it was on Dynamite.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So they've been back, but it's like, you have a lot of these guys that are like in stables, and I'm like, come on, man. Rush is great. Get him more TV time. Like, yeah. But yeah, that's Wrestledream.
It was good. It was a really good pay-per-view.
It was
great pay-per-view.
It's hard for me to keep calling the next pay-per-view the best pay-per-view of AEW's
They'll slip up eventually.
Existence. Yeah, they're gonna slip up, and I'm calling them out on it.
I would say this is their best effort this year, because
this is the best effort.
It's their best effort they put forth, because with the pay-per-view in such a short period of time from All Out, I didn't think this was going to be this good. Okay, I thought this was going to be the pay-per-view that took a step back. It's maybe slowed down a little bit, but I don't know, man. They just keep producing high-quality pay-per-views, and I'm rather impressed by it.
Building ever closer to doing a monthly pay-per-view, and I get more and more nervous every time they do it.
Because I don't think it's going to be as good once they start doing monthly pay-per-views, but they'll be passable at least, though.
I will take one every 2 months.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the fastest I will give them to build storylines. 2 months. Just, you get 2 months, you get 8 weeks, and then we get a pay-per-view. Like,
How long was All Out to what Wrestledream?
well, Wrestledream, All Out was August. Yeah, about a month.
I think it was September 3rd that was All Out, and then we had October 1st, which is Wrestledream. So about
the first swerve and Hangman thing was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and that was fairly recent after All In. So I mean,
Okay.
that feud had 3 weeks to build, and they built it up fucking great. Like,
It did. I'm just saying, like, I
yeah,
will love you
I
the same
don't.
criticism at AEW that I will at WWE.
If they can get it on a streaming service, I won't mind it. But I'm not paying $50 a month for a pay-per-view.
Oh no,
That's what's getting me. If they're going to do it every month, I need it to be just a tiny bit cheaper.
it's probably gonna
Like-
it's probably gonna be on Max if they do so.
Have you considered money?
Have you considered? I'm using somebody else's password right now for Peacock.
You're welcome.
And HBO Max. So
Well, I think we are long past the days of monthly pay-per-views costing that much, because now with streaming services, I think that era is coming to an end.
yeah.
So that's a good thing, at least. You know,
Yeah.
you pay $5 a month for a streaming service, and you just get it.
Well, we at least know that there is no pay-per-view for AEW until Full Gear.
Which is in late November.
Fuck, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that'll be it, and then I think we got a 3 months until the next one.
Yeah.
For now.
At the time of recording this, fucking Fastlane is next weekend.
Full
So-
Gear is November 18th, so it's not even late October. It's early November or late November. It's early November.
Yeah, and we have Fast Gear or Fastlane next fucking
Fastlane.
weekend,
Past Gear.
and I'm
Crossover
like,
nobody asked for.
and it's just like, what are we getting out of that? That really has me hyped up. The LA Knight John Cena tag team match.
That's about it.
That's about it so far.
If you into that.
I mean, what the Last Man Standing, Shinsuke and Rollins. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So-
They just did. They're doing Cody and Jay versus the Judgment Day for the titles,
Okay.
which is okay, I guess.
So we're continuing to stall Cody until WrestleMania season.
Yes,
It's so funny because
we
it's
know
just
what's
like
gonna happen.
Raw
Yeah.
has just become the 4 babyface against Judgment Day show. Like,
Oh,
and
here's a good one.
SmackDown's Jimmy
Uh,
trying to be Roman. Like,
So we're gonna have Io Sky versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair, which should be a good match.
it can just be Asuka and Io. That's,
know. But Star
But they
Power-
already blew that match on TV, so it's like,
Run it
yeah,
back.
they have to.
Run it back.
I want them to run it back, but they got to put Charlotte in there, so.
They have to put Charlotte into everything, and
Because they completely blew that match on SmackDown. So,
well,
um,
we've been bitching for about 15 minutes longer than we've talked about Wrestledream, so I think we're good for now.
yeah.
But so yeah, this has been the Wrestledream episode. Great pay-per-view. If you can find at least the Danielson Sabre Jr. match, I'd recommend finding that and enjoying just pure technical wrestling.
If you like hardcore wrestling, watch the main event. If
Yes.
you like people slapping each other, you've got a couple matches to go through.
If you just want to be thoroughly sports entertained, Swerve and Hangman.
Oh no! If you want to be thoroughly sports entertained, the opener handicap match.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say yes. That is the most sports entertaining.
So go check out Wrestledream if you haven't. This pay-per-view had something for everybody.
Yes,
You know
it
what?
did.
I'm gonna go as far as thinking about it because I can't remember any of his other solo matches. I think this was Hangman's best solo match, and at least
Hangman
in recent
had
memory.
a good solo match with CM Punk.
Or,
but
that's one where CM
everyone
Punk
kept
fucked up
botching
his buckshot
Yeah.
lariat.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So ignoring CM Punk, I think this is Hangman's best solo match in months. So I mean, it just shows like he's still a star in this company, even if he's not at that top level still. And Swerve is just star. He is a star. But yeah, thank you all for watching. We will be back next week on the show with Fastlane. And
I
then
guess.
sometime in November with Full Gear. We have the content.
Don't forget, we have Survivor Series.
We do have Survivor Series, so we have the content coming for the rest of the year. And yeah, if you all enjoyed this, we have all of our links down in the description. You can also follow the Without Context podcast itself. That should be also on the link tree. I think I've updated the list of links on there for our other podcasts. So if you found us through wrestling, but you don't know we do another podcast, allegedly, it's that other one. We have about 60 something episodes on that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of wrestling for 2023.
It's like I keep saying every time we end these things. Wrestling's in such a good spot.
It's in such a good spot right now.
If people wouldn't be so fucking tribal minded about it, like it's such a good wrestling is so good right now.
Oh, one last thing. During the media scrum, just Christian just cooking Brian Alvarez's whole career.
Oh yes.
Just hi, I'm Brian Alvarez. Just hi, I'm Brian Alvarez from The Observer. And Christian just like unenthused, just oh great, I love talking to Marks. Like, and I was just
great.
like, he's just cooking Brian Alvarez,
shit,
and
King.
it's so funny because he's just like so bored as he's talking to him.
Oh, did you give me his cool star rating for my match?
Oh no, I told him he's like he once wrestled somebody, and Christian asked him, "Oh cool, did you give yourself a star rating?" Like Christian just wasn't taking Brian Alvarez seriously during that interview. It was so funny.
That's great. I want to see I've never been so excited to watch an episode of the Wrestling Observer newsletter where it's just Brian Alvarez was like, man, fuck Christian.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, everybody. We'll see you all on the next episode. Take care. And if you guys like this, notice that we don't have any likes here on Spotify or anything yet. So share with your friends, and we have all the social media stuff so you can tell us how much we suck if you think we do that too. So we have a Twitter. You can find that link in there. But yeah, Deca X, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Sorry for the little technical hiccup there at the start.
It's all good.
But
No
we
one
did
knows about
manage
it
to.
until you say it.
Yeah. Well, we said at the opening. So, but yeah, we did manage to get a good long episode. I mean, this pay-per-view deserved it. It was great.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We'll see you for Fastlane, Survivor Series, and Full Gear, and whatever comes in December. Like
December to dismember.
Oh God. I can guarantee at least 4 episodes before this year's over. So just follow the podcast whenever an episode goes up for this pay-per-view. We'll have it up. This is the less frequent of the podcasts, as I say, as we finally had an episode on Without Context, the first since May. So we're trying to get better at it, guys. But
We all
good night,
work full-time jobs.
Yep. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Night, everybody.